Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Money can't buy you love, happiness, or even a family. Today on rLounge, even paradise isn't enough for the richest of the rich when they can't stop to smell the flowers. Up first, House Hunters, Entitled Edition. Ex-brother-in-law thinks he deserves free house. Backstory: my 30 male, girlfriend's 29 female grandfather owned a company and had done fairly well for himself, so when my girlfriend's older sisters, 36 female twins, turned 30, he bought 2 houses to let them live there rent-free on the condition they save their money and buy the house off of him and the company. Planning to do the same for my girlfriend and younger sister when they turned 30. First sister was able to save up and buy the house with her husband. Now for the second house. Enter ex-brother-in-law, 37 male. Ex-brother-in-law, now thinking he is getting a free ride, decides to take out a bunch of loans and open a gym while being supported by sister-in-law. She has a well-paying job. They live rent-free for 4 years while his gym just bleeds money. Was only open Monday through Thursday 9 to 2 because he liked his free time. After 4 years, grandfather asked for them to either buy the house or start paying rent. Since they couldn't afford the house, they rented out the basement for $1,300 a month while only paying $1,000 in rent, pocketing $300 a month onto the property they don't own. Well, sadly, last year my girlfriend's grandfather passed away, so the company and his assets were to be liquidated and sold. This included the house. Sister-in-law and ex-brother-in-law were given first chance to buy the house, but couldn't afford it due to all of the debt. Now it just so happened my girlfriend and I were looking to buy, and we thought what a great opportunity. We even offered to rent to them for under market value so they wouldn't have to move, and we would live in the basement. My girlfriend's father even offered them $900 a month for the first year to help with the bills and rent since the free ride was ending and they weren't prepared. Well, that wasn't good enough for my ex-brother-in-law. He started demanding and threatening they should just get the house. Remember, this is not even his family, but his wife's. Sister-in-law, tired of supporting him and his tantrums, leaves him. She understood the situation and was grateful the whole time. Only mistake was her trying to support her husband's dream. Not feeling comfortable, she moves out. Come time for us to take possession, we give him plenty of opportunity and months' notice to leave before we move in. On move-in day, he is still there throwing stuff into the back of his truck. He screams at us for stealing his house while demanding he keeps a key for the garage because that is his storage. We changed the locks right after he left. Once he was off the property, we realized he had left the place a disaster, including tons of garbage and belongings scattered everywhere. For months after, he kept threatening us for all we did to him. Trying to be the bigger man, I offered to store his stuff for 2 months while he finds a more suitable place. I should have never done this, but was also trying to help sister-in-law during divorce, as some of the stuff was hers. When he finally came to get his belongings, he refused to take his trailer, loaded up with his stuff, and will sue us if I move it off the property. Fast forward, we got all the belongings settled, but now he's trying to sue his ex-wife, the estate, and us for the house, or at least $50,000 for all the upgrades he put into the house while living there 6 years rent-free. Mind you, no upgrades are actually done, just half demolished projects. It cost us another $20,000 on top of the sale just to finish everything he destroyed. Kitchen, bathroom, deck, etc. None of these projects were asked to be done by the grandfather. He just wanted them for himself. TLDR, ex-brother-in-law lived rent-free 6 years in the house we bought and is now demanding the house. Update to answer some questions people may have. The reason we were so hospitable in the beginning was because sister-in-law and ex-brother-in-law have kids together, niece and nephew amazing kids, who were hoping to spare the trouble of moving or drama. Sadly, that did not happen. The grandfather's estate went only to his direct kids, no grandchildren, inherited anything. We bought the house at full market value minus a realtor fee. The sister-in-law did not get anything from the sale of the house. Ex-brother-in-law actually made some pretty disgusting comments such as, "I didn't expect him to die. Why does that mean we have to move? Just because the other grandkids didn't get anything doesn't mean you can take what's mine." And, "He's gone now. We should just have it." Remember, not even his family, his wife's. He had to declare bankruptcy due to the gym and is trying to drag sister-in-law down with him. His parents are paying for the divorce lawyer, and he is trying to use the divorce to get the house or $50,000. We are pretty sure he is just trying to intimidate everyone for a payout. We have plenty of photographic proof of everything and inspection report when purchasing the house. Also photos of his ridiculous claims, example charging himself $50 an hour in labor, etc. Let's get a reaction from the community. He's too broke to sue you. Have the junk hauled off your property. Lawyers are expensive. It's not his property and he doesn't live there anymore. I'm not exactly sure, check local laws, but I'm fully certain you can just have it hauled away. DOP replies, We resolved the belongings and we moved everything to the sister-in-law's place since they have to sort it all in the divorce anyway. His parents are footing the divorce and lawsuit bill for him because his mother is also a narcissist. It took a while for the sister-in-law to realize that he was a narcissist because he was good at masking and not biting the hand that feeds until things finally didn't go his way. Wow, the master freeloader now playing the victim card, demanding the house he never owned. Honestly, you gave him all the chances and he didn't take it because he was too proud. And the comments are right. He's too broke to sue. He just likes hearing the sound of his own voice. Do you have a brother-in-law like OP's? Tell us your stories in the comments below. Meanwhile, our next OP likes to think his pockets are deeper than the ocean. Entitled guest thought money could get him anything. So I live on the big island of Hawaii, and last year I was working at a local resort doing concierge. Most of the job was helping people figure out what they want to do while on vacation, like snorkeling, guided hiking tours, helicopter rides, etc., etc. One afternoon, I was approached by a guy who wanted to take a tour to the Captain Cook Monument, which is known for having great snorkeling, but is only accessible by a steep and fairly grueling hike, or by boat kayak tour through a permitted company of which there are only a few. He wanted to go that day or the day after, and I explained that unfortunately all of the tours were fully booked. Unfazed and without pause, he tells me to find him another boat. I explained that only certain boats are allowed to be in that area, and all of them were full. He insisted that I get on the phone and start calling anyone I could who had a boat that he could pay to take him there, and he kept saying, "Money isn't an issue, just find me a boat." I calmly explained again that that was not possible or legal, and that no local boat captain would risk losing their license to take him there. Exasperated, he finally gave up on the boat and started asking about other tours. At this point, I mentioned that one of my favorite local tours is for stargazing on Mauna Kea. I told him all about the incredible sunset views and absolutely breathtaking stars, and that you go up in a nice van with about 14 other people. He was interested in going up the mountain, but didn't want to be around other people or be on a tour for 8 or so hours. So he tells me to call the helicopter companies and find him one that will fly him up there for a private star show. I begin explaining that the mountain is restricted airspace due to the observatories at the top, and that even if it wasn't that, not only can the local helicopters not safely make it to 14,000 feet in altitude, but none of those companies do stargazing tours because they aren't trained for it and don't have the equipment. Again, he tells me to just call around and find him a pilot willing to take him up there, and again starts repeating that money isn't an issue. I once again calmly explain, while shrieking like a banshee internally, that no pilot is going to risk the loss of their license, as well as fines and jail time for taking him up there. Finally, he throws up his hands and says, "Fine, I guess I'll just go to the beach then." Like, yeah, dude, I feel so sorry that you left planning your vacation activities until you were on vacation, clearly have issues being told no, and now your only option is to enjoy a stunning beach in one of the most beautiful places in the world. God, I hate rich people. Now the community has some thoughts. I once had a person try to talk me into something illegal, and they used the "I don't care about cost, I just want this done" line. So I started talking about what the cost would be, starting with $50,000 for lawyer fees for me, probably $500,000 for my employer, and another $500,000 for the fines. The business would be closed down, so it would be payment for all employees who were now out of work, and both my employer and myself would never be able to work in this field again. So support both of us and our families based on our current life expectancy. Let's just round to an even $3 million. I intended to keep going, but for some reason, the cost had become an issue after all. Maybe it was when I said cash up front, of course. The next person chimes in. Since money is no issue for him, he could find himself someone dumb enough to do any of those things and pay whatever legal fees he comes across. The OP replies, "Sure, he could do that on his own. I wasn't going to help him with it though, since that would then make both me and the resort I worked for liable if something happened." It's sort of gross to think what people think they can do with an endless amount of money, or that they deserve special treatment. What's even worse is having to deal with people who can't take no for an answer. I mean, this guy's literally in paradise and still finds things to complain about. In the end, the poor soul had to settle for the mundane beauty of the Hawaiian beach. Cry me a river. Have you ever had to deal with a special guest like this? Let us know in the comments. Next up, who needs mistletoe when you have financial surprises? A sister turns Christmas dinner into a financial fiasco. Sister was able to get me to fund her Christmas dinner with her kids. This is more of a vent. It just happened yesterday and I'm still pretty irritated with the whole situation. Hell, maybe I'm the problem. Sorry if it's too long for you. Also, there's a few minor details I changed just in case my nephew comes across this post. I have many stories about my sister's entitlement, marrying men for their health insurance for a surgery and then divorcing a few months after the surgery. Once she got mad she wasn't invited on someone else's vacation, and when that person broke down and finally invited her, she got even more mad because they wanted her to pay for herself. That one pissed me off because she brought my name into it. Currently, she's been without a job for 3 years and lives off her boyfriend and her adult kids. In November, she told me my nibblings were going to spend Christmas with her dad's side of the family, so she was trying to plan a day for her to go stay with the night with her daughter and to do a small dinner. She invited me to go, and I told her I would have to get back with her because I have yet to get a Christmas schedule with my ex. At the end of November, my youngest had been a little rude with her. She told me to tell my daughter if she acted out while we were there, then she would put her in a room by herself. I told my sister, first off, I never said I could go, and second, if you're going to threaten my daughter to be put in a room by herself, then I'd rather just not go at all. My sister told me I have to go because my niece is excited to show her aunt, me, her new apartment, and she will be heartbroken if I don't go. She added at the end, but don't tell Sarah I told you that, because she'll be embarrassed. In other words, don't mention it to my niece because she just made that up to guilt me into going. After that, I felt obligated to go. I know I could have said no, but I did want to see my nibblings. Beginning of December, she asked to borrow $20 for food and then spent $50. She said she could pay me back later in the month. Last week she told me she'll just use that $50 she owes me to help pay for the Christmas dinner. So now I'm expected to pay for part of the dinner. I wasn't too upset because I figured I would buy something, but I definitely couldn't spend $50 just on dinner. I needed that money back for my bills. Fast forward to yesterday. We're on our way to gas up and then leave town. I told her that I planned on throwing in about $10 to help with gas. I know it's not much, but I'm on a budget and none of this was planned. We get to the gas station and she tells me she actually needs me to put more money in on the gas because she only had $10. So I had to put $25 in her tank. At that point, I realized why I was invited. She needed money to fund this one-night getaway. We get to my niece's house and she starts making the grocery list. We had to add a small lunch to the list because we hadn't eaten yet. I told her my oldest needed something soft to eat because she just had dental work. I told her exactly what to get her, and she could use the money she owed me to pick it up. She took my oldest with her to the store. When they got back, my oldest came up to me and quietly asked if she could talk to me. We go outside and she tells me that my sister told her she's getting what she wants and my daughter will just have to deal with it. Then my daughter lets me know my sister didn't get a receipt and she spent all the money she had. Before she left for the store, I told my sister I wanted the receipt so I knew how much I was spending and on what. I went inside and went up to her to ask for the receipt and the rest of the money she owed me. She had neither, which I already knew. I asked for clarity. So I'm the one who paid for all the dinner? She says, I told you yesterday morning that I didn't have much money. Sarah has to pay for the gas to get us back home. She said it as if I needed to be grateful we would have gas to get back home. She still had over half a tank. This morning at the gas station, she handed me a $50 to go pay $20 for gas and said I could get my kids donuts. Then in the car, she made a snide remark that she was nice enough to buy them donuts and they needed to be nicer to her. Somehow I didn't snap at her, but Lord knows I wanted to really bad. I have to ghost her for a couple of days before I can even approach this issue, because if I don't, I'll get pretty mean and I don't want to be the a-hole. If I'm an a-hole in any way, she'll run to family members and twist the whole story around to make her look like a victim, just like she's done in the past. This behavior of hers is literally the main reason I am no longer close with most of the extended family. If you got this far, thank you for reading my vent. I have so many stories of this grown woman being entitled. Edited to fix some autocorrect. Also, wanted to specify that when we were at the gas station and she said she only had $10, she meant she had only allotted $10 for gas. She did have more money, but she was using it to buy the dinner. As I read through looking for autocorrects that I missed before I posted, I realized that I might confuse anyone who reads this. Second edit. I feel like a lot of the comments are the same, so I'll address a couple of things. I am not an enabler. A decade plus ago, yes, you probably could have called me that, but not today. I do call out my sister on her BS. Hell, that's one reason why we're no contact. I'm in my late 30s and she is in her late 40s. We have gone no contact off and on through my early 20s over me going off on her BS. Sometimes it was 6 months, sometimes a year, but the longest was the last time for 2 years. I spent more than a decade in therapy to undo my mom's BS, and my sister was sometimes a subject that I talked about in there. Another thing, my immediate family knows how she is. So do my good friends who I have had 5 to 20 years. My older brother and dad don't like to mess with her at all because she does the same crap to them. She tries to act like she doesn't know why or if she's in the mood to admit why, Then she makes it look like they slighted her, and it's her not talking to them. My extended family was what I was worried about, and I say that pretty loosely. In all honesty, I guess I don't care what they think of me. I don't speak to any of them. I just get tired of being talked about. To be even more honest, those relatives probably talk crap on everyone. An incident in August left my sister with an accidental voicemail of 2 of my aunts talking crap about her not having a job. So maybe they have figured it out. Now a couple community reactions. First one. No is a pretty powerful word. You may want to start using it with your sister. Someone else chimes in, right? OP is very much an enabler. The OP responds, I absolutely agree, and I do take my part of the blame with not having her just take my kids and I back home when I realized at the gas station that she was using me. We had been no contact for a couple of years and only started talking again a year ago. This last year I had been doing good at saying no and sticking to boundaries, but this time I slipped. I've been practicing what I'm going to say with her when I do confront her about this. I'm not going to let it go. I just need to wait a few days to cool off. She very obviously used you just like she's used everyone else. You shouldn't actually be surprised at any of this. Sounds like everyone else had figured it out but you. And like you said, who cares if she does say something about you on social media? Who's going to take care if they know what kind of person she is? Everyone knows she's a BSer. And really, why did you take her back? There shouldn't be room for people like that in your life. And what good is confronting her going to do? Sounds like she's always been like this and she's never going to change. But what you can change is the power she has over you. Do you have a sibling like this? What have they done to you? How do you create healthy boundaries with them? Thank you for following along today. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to share regarding today's content, we want to hear it. See you next time in the rLounge.